Oh, wow. I missed it here. I definitely missed it here. How is everyone doing? Welcome to Remembering Saturdays. Welcome in. Wow, I didn't realize how much I would miss doing lives every day. From going from doing them every day to not doing them at all, and I'm waiting all the way until Saturday. That's gonna have to change. That is definitely going to have to change. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Remembering Saturdays. How have your week been going? How has your week been going? Let me know if you can hear me clearly in the chat. Let me know. And, let me know how everything's been going since we've connected. Since I think it was last Saturday or so? How's everything been going? Let me know. I am grateful to have you here. If you're watching the live, great. If you're watching the replay, no worries. You are right on time. You are right on time. So I've been getting a lot of comments, a lot of questions about my recent shorts that I've been dropping in regards to fear-based teaching and fearing God and so forth. How are you? Welcome. Welcome in. Can you hear me clearly? I just been like, why don't I know I made this clear. If you're going to send me a Bible verse, I want you to send me a Bible verse because you know its true meaning internally, not external surface level. So tonight we're going to respond to some of the comments that I've been getting because I haven't been replying to them. But someone sent me the Bible verse, Proverbs 9 and 10. So that's the Bible verse we're going to be discussing. So we're discussing fearing God and why that makes sense at all. Hi, Francine. How are you? Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly? So tonight we are going to be discussing the verse Proverbs 9 and 10. Welcome back to Remembering Saturdays. I am back, family. I am happy to be here. So as usual, I am not here to attack your belief. I'm not here to argue with your theology, and I'm not here to get you to change your faith. I'm simply here to open your minds to new perspectives. So take what resonates and leave the rest in love. But tonight's verse was big because it's something most of us were taught. It's awesome. It was something most of us were taught, but it never quite made sense. It never made sense to me. Like, why would we fear God, but then taught in the same language to love God? God is your father. I want you to fear him. God is always watching. Don't make God angry or God is going to punish you. But then in the same sentence, you tell me that God is my father and that God loves me and that, I'm supposed to have a healthy relationship with him. So what would be the point of me fearing God? Hi, everyone. Make it make sense. I want to understand. If you come onto my page and you comment, help me understand why you throwing this verse out at me. Because I told you a lot of the definitions that were put into the Bible, that fear keeps from doing nonsense. No, it doesn't. It doesn't keep you from doing nonsense. But in that same verse, so let me say the verse right quick. So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. When have you ever felt wise and feared at the same time? Most of the time when you're scared, you're not even thinking clearly. Am I correct? I am the God and God is great. Look, I agree with you. I'm God too. We all are God. We're all parts of God. We are all from the same source. So we are all one. If God is everywhere and God is in everything, then it would make sense for God to be within us, no? I mean, I would hope so. And I know I wouldn't want to fear something that resides within. So when you shoot these Bible verses out at me, I don't want you to shoot it out at me with surface level definitions because you're not. If the verse don't make sense to you, dig deeper. Either you go meditate and ask for clarity on the verse, or you can take it a little bit further and take it from the Bible and see if you can find something in regards to fear. Because this fear here in this particular verse right here, is not modern day fear. It's not modern day fear. And modern day fear is anxiety, terror, and punishment. That's not what fear meant in this verse. This fear meant awareness, reverence, deep awareness. That's what this meant in this verse. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So the awareness of the Creator, the awareness, and I'm not talking about the seeing, I'm talking about that inner knowing, the awareness of the Creator. The awareness of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So once you've become aware that you and the Creator, you and God are one, you are now opening yourself up to wisdom. And the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. So think about that. You have fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And in that same verse, you have the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. So again, let's take it back to the modern day fear. How do you have understanding and wisdom when you are upset, scared? You don't feel smart normally with the fear of the modern day anxiety, terror, and punishment. You don't. And this verse is clearly saying the beginning of wisdom. I want it to make sense. I need you to point it out to me where it makes sense for you to fear the Creator and love Him in the same sentence. Like, why, how do you fear? How does fear and love even coexist in a healthy relationship? If there was no fear, there would be no structure. Your flesh would completely consume you, eventually leading you to destruction. The fear is God's protection in a sense. Okay, Tony, got it. Got it. I mean, look, listen, like I say you all the time, I'm not here to argue with anybody's theology. I just want it to make sense. That's it. If it doesn't make sense to me, then I'm not going to abide by it. Just because I was taught it, or just because I know the definition of fear that was taught to me, not the definition that I know to be true, but the definition that was taught to me, and I took it to be true without ever questioning it because it was taught to me. So if fear was taught back in the day to mean awareness, yes. So if fear was taught back in the day to mean awareness, to mean reverence, deep awareness, a deep respect, why now, which would be the more modern day fear, is anxiety, punishment, scared? Because we're taught to be scared. We're taught that fear means scared. But little do we understand and little do we know that's not what this fear is talking about in this verse. How can the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom? How? Where does that make sense? We don't normally feel wise or smart when we are fearing. When we are in fear, no, we don't. We just want to do what we're supposed to do so we can get it done in a manner that it doesn't upset anyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, Kat. How are you? So when you're scared, you're not even thinking clearly. So how can it lead to wisdom or be the beginning of wisdom? We got to start questioning these definitions. Hello. We got to start questioning these definitions that we've been taught, because they don't link up. They don't match with the verse. They don't match with the Bible verse. They don't. They don't match at all with the Bible verse, but we just take it as surface level understanding, and it doesn't make any sense. And then you throw these Bible verses back at me. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Marks. I'm sorry if I say it wrong. Mr. Yasin or Mrs. Yasin. But so when you're going to send me a Bible verse, don't send it to me, like I tell you all the time, with just the surface level definition of fear. If fear doesn't make sense, go look up what fear used to mean before it was put into the definition, into the dictionary and taught what it meant. This is how we got misconstrued. This is how we got controlled. I'll be honest. This is how religion began to control us. Metaphorical, not literal. Rely not on your own understanding. Right. And if we have the Creator within us, dig deeper, go meditate so we can get that full understanding. Let's not just take it off of what someone is teaching us. And I say it all the time. When you read the Bible verse, you literally read just the words and the definition of the words. But that doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you because you're assuming that this Bible verse is telling you to fear the one being that gave you life. You should fear that being. And then in the same sentence gave you free will and free choices. You can make choices. So why would something that's supposed to be so loving, as everyone says, which I know God is, love, all love, why would it, okay, got it. So fear equals respect. Got it. So basically, yes, because that reverence means deep awareness. It means a respect for something greater than yourself. So it doesn't mean you're supposed to fear like the modern day fear, be scared or anxious or tiptoe, because guess what? That doesn't serve you. That fear sets you back. And it keeps you away from the awareness that this verse is telling you. I'm going to read it how I want it to, what I perceive it to say. The awareness of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Once you become aware of that inner being, that higher source that lives within all of us, now you start to realize how you can create your life. Now you start to realize how you can have things show up into your reality that serves you, if that makes sense. So that awareness is what's leading to the wisdom of God. And the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. So how could you fear something? Look, listen, if you have fear in the same sentence as understanding, where does that make sense? Because when you fear something, are you usually understanding it? No, you're doing what you got to do to make it happy, right? Because let's just say we fear our boss. Okay, let us do what we have to do so, we don't lose our jobs, we don't get fired. Where in the heck does that have understanding? Like you understand it, the mission, you understand what you're supposed to do. But how does fear, understanding, and knowledge and wisdom mix? No, because that word fear did not mean what we take it to mean today. It didn't mean that. But again, you throw these Bible verses at me with the surface level definition, but you're not digging deeper. The Bible was way more internal than it is external. And once we understand that and start questioning these verses and these things, well, I wouldn't even say the verses, but we start questioning the way it was taught to us, then we have a better understanding as to how we're supposed to go about the verse or how it's supposed to make sense to us. Because I don't, you're not supposed to be afraid. Why would you fear God? If God is love and God is our Father, why would you fear God? And because in human relationships, I know this for a fact because I've been in one. When fear is present, when fear is present, we hide. We usually perform. We comply, so we don't have to deal with the arguing, the fighting, because now we're afraid, and so forth. Let me read what you said, Tony. Fear means avoiding what God absolutely doesn't like. If you do everything in good faith, you'll be good cause. You'll be consistently practicing discipline, love, strength, consciousness, or unconsciously. Consciously or unconsciously in this context. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I get where you're pointing at. I definitely get where you're pointing at. Say that again about fear and arguing. Okay, so I was talking about fear in human relationships, right? So I can say this with me. I feared arguing. I feared having arguments inside of my relationship. So you know what I did? I complied. I would hide. I really didn't tell the truth about how I felt because I didn't want to argue. So how can you tell me that that's what God wants? God wants you to fear me so you can hide who you are. You can comply. You can perform. Why? Where does that make sense? Where does that make sense? I heard a lady come on one of her channels and she said, my parents lived their lives here on this planet in hell, right? She said this. They was unhappy, everything. So both her parents decided to take their lives. And when she was an atheist and she decided not to believe in God because she said that didn't make no sense. So they lived their life here in fear just to die and live in hell because they didn't live their life here. Where does these things make sense? All I'm saying is we have to start questioning the stuff that don't make sense and not just take it because somebody told us we had to. Not just listen to it because somebody told us we had to. Where the heck does that make sense at? Biblical love is hard. You have forgiven instead of holding a grudge. Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me tell you something. Like you said, the definition of fear we normally know is what somewhat different in the. Thank you. It is. Thank you. It is so different. But the fear that we was taught, guess what it does? It teaches control. If I can get you to fear something, I can control you. I can get you to stay in your house. If I tell you that there's going to be a mass shooting, you're not going to go in that direction. You're going to fear that direction. You don't question it. Oh, how do you know it's going to be a mass shooting? Or how do you know this, that, and the third? You just go with it. Okay, I'm going to just take your word for it because you came on a television screen and you said it, or you're a political person, or whatever the case may be. We don't question it. We just go with it. If it's in the dictionary, okay, my teacher taught me that this is what fear meant. Okay, so this is how fear means in the Bible. No. Question these things because they don't serve us and they don't make sense. How can you use fear and wisdom in the same sentence? How can fear be the beginning of wisdom? Fear is normally like you're not even thinking clearly. I just need to get this over with because I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm literally scared. That's what fear means in modern day. I'm telling you, a lot of the words were switched up to keep us confused so that it would be easier for the systems to have control. And we forget what power, we truly possess. That's just it. And look, all I would like for us to do is start questioning some of these things. Because when you throw the Bible verses at me, like when you put them in the comments, most of the time I'll ignore them because if I say something in the video and you drop that Bible verse, I already know that you're seeing it from that surface level. And it's cool. Because I was there. I didn't understand the Bible to the level I understand it at until I was awakened. I became aware. I stopped living unconsciously, and I now live consciously. So I get it. I was the same way. I used to think that fear and all sin and hell, all of those things existed. Now I don't believe in those things, and I learned to dig deeper. If I don't understand the verses, I dig deeper. I'll go and I'll meditate. I'm not going to go take somebody else's word for it. But these definitions has been switched up and misconstrued. So I'm going to reply back to some of the comments, but I'd rather talk to you here and explain it and explain my perspective on it because I'm hoping that you'll get a better understanding than it just me texting it. Because sometimes when you text, people don't get the legit meaning of what you're trying to say. They can now assume what you're trying to say because they're reading it. So I'd rather come live and have these conversations with you so that you'll get a better understanding of my perspective and where I'm coming from. We all have a spirit. Absolutely. Holy Spirit. Yep. Angel within that gives us the ability to discern. Ha. I love that word. Discernment is one of my favorite words because when discernment touch you and you feel discernment, that's my spirit speaking to me. I'm trusting it. I'm trusting it. I'm going with it. I'm not questioning it. Let me tell you that from now. I've learned to understand, to hear, to know when discernment shows up, intuition, my senses is telling me something, it's my truth and I'm following it. I don't question it no more. Yes. And Tony, I want to ask you something on a person. The more you develop your relationship with the Lord, yep, the more spiritual gifts. Yeah. And they tell me that, and I'm not saying that this is true, but I can say from some of my experiences, women tend to be a lot more intuitive. Don't hold me to this, guys, gentlemen, fellas, if you're here. Tend to feel that discernment, that intuition a lot more than men do. And I would have to say from my experience, like I've talked to some brothers that's deep into the spiritual and they understand it well. But when I go to tell them some of my spiritual intuitions, my hearing things and my showing things, they like, what? Wow. I never experienced nothing like that. And a lot of them think I'm a little cuckoo. But it's only because I'm starting to think that women feel it a little bit more intuitively than men. And that's because of the conditioning. That's because of the conditioning teaching men as to they're supposed to be the provider. They're supposed to be the protector. They're supposed to be the strong one. They're supposed to be logical. Hi, Tiki. How are you? So that's my take on it. Now, if there's any men in the room, talk to me. Let me know. So NSTOP, you got to let me know. And but from the name, I'm not being able to tell. Are you a male or female? And I apologize. It's just that from the name, I'm not speaking as a 22-year-old man. Talk to me. Talk to me, Tony. Have you ever felt that? Awesome. Okay. Thank you. So I'm not crazy. I wouldn't say I'm crazy ever anyway. So I wonder, so that's just the conditioning. I feel like once the men step away from that conditioning that society has them thinking that they have to do, that will change. That doesn't have to stay that way. And I'm excited to meet men that has actually felt it, which I'm sure there's a bunch of them. Don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about hear the voices, wake up from the dreams. Like I know men have had to have these dreams, but they thought more about it in a logical way. So they seen the dream in a more logical way. And a lot of people relate their dreams as a surface level. They don't dig deep. Like I'm talking about dig deep into the dream and to the point where it's like, oh, not because, oh, I'm pregnant in the dream. That means somebody's having a baby. No. I'm talking about dig deeper past that. Like that pregnancy part of the dream, you having a dream about pregnancy is your child. It's your childhood. It's you, the inner child of you, trying to express itself or trying to, sometimes the information makes sense. Pray on it. Absolutely. Pray on it or meditate. Pray on it or meditate. Go sit quietly. And you know what? I need clarity on this dream, or I need clarity on this feeling that I have, or even on the Bible verses. Somebody, like dig a little bit deeper than what, going to ask your pastor or going to ask someone. Because again, if they're reading it at a surface level, they're going to teach it to you at a surface level. And I can tell you, because I grew up in church, it was a lot of surface level definitions being taught to me. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That would have been like fear God. Hey, Emojin, how are you? Like, yeah, that would be, no, it doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I'm questioning it. And I don't mean I'm literally going to go ask somebody. I'm literally going to go inward. Because I already know I have all the answers. And not to say like I'm doing exceptional. I know the answers are within. And if I take my behind and sit down and go and meditate and seek clarity, then guess what? It's going to show up for me. Because I believe that. I believe that. And I tell you this all the time. If I get that sense, that discernment, and it shows up, listen, I'm following it. I'm going with it. I know I might have said this before. I'm sorry if I missed it. But what's the Bible verse for today? So today is just remembering Saturdays. But the Bible verse that we did come up with that I decided to speak on is one that someone commented back to me based on one of my videos. And the verse was Proverbs 9:10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. So we were basically talking about that fear. And that fear is not the modern day fear. It's not the fear of anxiety, punishment, terror, being scared. That's not the fear that this verse is saying. That fear that this verse is saying is awareness, reverence, deep awareness, respect. That's what that verse is saying. Don't tell me that the Creator that loves us and who we are taught to love in return is telling you that I need to fear it. Where does that make sense at? Why would I fear? Do you fear your parents? I'm just saying. Did you grow up fearing your parents? Yeah, they might have beat your behinds or whatever the case may be. But did you fear your parents? You're telling me that God is my parent. He is my father, but I should fear him in the same sentence. Why? It doesn't make any sense. If you can point out to me where it makes sense at, I'm not even going to lie to you and say that I would go with it, but I'm just saying I need it to make sense for me. And and a lot of people get uncomfortable. They feel like it's rebellious to ask questions. It's blasphemy to ask questions. But let me tell you something. No question is a bad question. So ask the question. If you get punished for asking a question, that means you need to check the person you talking to. Because they scared of something. And they don't want you to know. They don't want you to figure out something. I mean, I'm just saying. And that Holy One in this verse is aligned with God. It's being aligned with God. It's the state of alignment with God's nature. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So who was that? Tony or NSTOP? You're going to have to tell me your real name. You're going to have to tell me your real name. So I think they're just scared to mislead you. That is true. Some of them are scared or they don't know either. They're just teaching you what they were taught. And that's how this teaching gets passed down to generation to generation. Well, I'm here to switch that up. We shouldn't be taught the same thing that we were taught years ago that wasn't working for them, but they want to teach it to us and it's supposed to work. It didn't work for you. The way you were taught, fear God, this, that, and the third, it didn't work for you, but you're still teaching it. It's still being passed down to your generations after generations. Why? Why? When do someone change the narrative? I'm here to change the narrative. I'm just saying. And I'm definitely changing the narrative within my household. So we don't even read the same way we were taught to read. Just read the words and know the definitions. That's not reading. That's not reading. For one, I'm questioning what is this teaching about, period. What are you trying to teach me? And who wrote the definition and who benefits if we all believe the one definition? Who benefits if we all believe the one definition? The systems, the ones who seeking control. I'm just saying. Who benefits? Why the religions? Why the certain definitions being switched up? Because definitions has been switched and changed. Exactly, the oppressor. The oppressor, the systems that was designed to control you. Because they know what powers we possess. And in numbers, collectively, the systems begins to dissolve. We are in, what do I like to call this? The year of the awakening? The year of awareness? The great awakening? Hey, Moses, how are you? How are you? We just sitting up here just discussing how, we are taught not to question, or we weren't taught to question, I should say. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but against principality. Hey, look, listen, I ain't wrestling with none of that crap no more. Let me tell you that from now. I'm aware, I'm awoke, and I'm following that discernment we was having that discussion about a while ago. That discernment, once it shows up, it's on sight for me. I'm not questioning my intuition anymore. I'm not questioning what I hear. I'm not questioning the sights. I'm going with it because I've noticed it's what serves me. And right on the opposite side of all the fear that we are being taught is everything that you desire. You just have to learn to let go of that fear and step on it, step on his neck, and keep it moving. And question what don't serve you. Question what don't serve you. Because I tell you this all the time. I like to come on here and have the conversations with you instead of responding back in comments, because you're not going to get it. That's how most of the time this language get misconstrued, because we could assume what we think it believes, what we think it means. And that's where it gets all messed up at. But I ain't going to hold y'all. I'm not going to keep y'all here too long. I just wanted to tell y'all that. So when you send me these responses, don't just send me the surface level. I want you to dig deeper, because I'm not going to abide by the definitions. Hey, how are you? Hey, Nana. I'm just about to log out of here, y'all. I usually stay on here for 30 minutes, but